Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to another quick draft of Phyrexia, All Will Be One. Today's draft will be slightly different from most as I have been very busy lately, so I've fallen behind on the recording schedule a bit, as you can probably tell from the daily videos hitting later in the evenings rather than their consistent afternoon time slot. But anyways, today we're going to be doing a bit of a quick draft speed run, so if you're newer to Phyrexia All Will Be One and want some more in-depth information, or if you just want to watch a longer video, definitely check out some of the previous drafts of this format. Anyways, without further ado, let's blitz our way through this quick draft. For pack 1, pick 1, I'm just going to scoop up the Annex Sentry. It's a removal spell and a creature all in one at a very good aggressive rate, and this is a very aggressive format. We've got a cool rare, but it's in the two weakest colors in the set, so we're definitely not interested in starting there. And for viable options, Chimney Rabble, Hex Gold Slash are premium commons, followed by Furnace Strider and Attendant. Has pretty sweet stuff as well. For pick 2, we could go Flensing Raptor, sticking Toxic with the Sentry, Immobilizer to go blue-white artifacts, Volt Charge towards red-white, but this is much weaker than the other common removal in red. I think I'm going to stick to pure white for now, grab the Flensing Raptor towards Toxic, because the Sentry is also a toxic creature. Pick 3, we have a really weak pack, a couple solid commons like Axiom Engraver or Cultivator, as well as the Edifice is the only uncommon I'm interested in at all. I just feel like red-white is strong enough to take the really nice card selection of Engraver here and lean in that direction. Pick 4, if we want to completely lock in on white, Duelist of Deep Faith is a solid 2-drop, but Contagious Vorak is an incredible 3-drop, and it would be really good if we end up in green-red if white gets cut here. So I'm going to take Vorak, just a really incredible play. But for pick 5, we bounce back to white, as Duelist of Deep Faith on curve is the best card out of the pack. Pick 6, definitely sticking to white now with Indoctrination Attendant, really good with Annex Sentry. You can play this, exile a token, then you can pick it up with your Attendant to replay it, and they obviously can't get tokens back. So Attendant has some really good combos in the format, that's one of them there. But the other one is with 4 Mirrodin equipment, where they enter the battlefield with a creature token, so you can pick them up, get another token off them later. This pack's pretty great for us. Both of the best cards are white, Disruption for removal or Shepherd for a big finisher, just a lot of creatures off one body. I'm going to go for the big Shepherd here. I like going super wide with that, plus every white creature we have so far is toxic, so the wide board of might tokens might be pretty good at pushing for lethal poison damage. Pick 8, though, we go ahead and take a 4 Mirrodin equipment, which leads a little more towards red-white than green-white toxic. But really, either direction we go is looking incredible here. This is insane and should never happen in a player draft. Hex Gold Slash and Chimney Rabble are both pick 1 pack 1-able cards, or pack 1 pick 1-able, whatever, and they're both still here, along with Furnace Strider, which is another high pick, not quite as high as those two, but it's absolutely insane to see all 3 of these, and we're kind of just guaranteed red now. So we do already have a couple pretty good 4-mana plays, and last pick, we took the really good creature over the really good removal, so this time we'll flip it around the other way and take the cheap removal with Hex Gold Slash. Pick 10, Plated Onslaught can be an okay finisher if you have a really aggressive curve, including plenty of artifacts. Lightbringer's an okay filler creature for red-white equipment. Throw possibilities, filler card draw, and we won't be playing any of the last couple picks. Pick 1, we have solid creatures throughout the curve, Duelist at 2, Punisher at 3, Resistant Skywarden at 5, and then we've got Hazardous Blast, another fine way to close out a game, shutting off blocks for the turn. Looking at our curve here, with Lightbringer not being super playable, we don't want too many 5-drops in this format in general or in this kind of deck. We could use more 2-mana plays, but we really want to take cards like Barbed Batterfist over cards like Duelist of Deep Faith if we're in red-white, because we don't really care about the Toxic basically at all in this color pair. We do really care about equipment though, so I think I'm actually just going to go for the Menace card in the middle of the curve here. And we hope to find 2-mana for Mirrodin equipment. Pick 2 now, Cacophony Scamp, perfectly solid 1-drop, especially if you can get some equipment on it, then when it dies you're getting to do extra damage to whatever you're targeting. Pick 3, another Hex Gold Hoverwings is pretty absurd, especially if we do find more equipment. But it's perfectly fine with just like Indoctrination Attendant combos. Pick 4, our mana curve is really important, so we don't want to slam in a bunch of 4-mana equipment just because they synergize with Hoverwings, when Hoverwings is just a way better version of these Volshock Splitters. So I don't think there's actually anything we're going to play here. The only odds are Plated Onslaught or Gleeful Demolition as possibilities. I'll just take another Onslaught. Pick 5. There we go. That's what we wanted to see. Barbed Batterfist for the 2-mana 3/1 that comes with equipment, or the Hexgold Halberd, 2-mana 2/2 First Strike Trample that comes with equipment. I think both of these are incredible, but just since the Halberd is an uncommon, you've just got less opportunities to play around with it, so we'll grab that one first, and if we're super lucky, wield a Batterfist. It is possible, considering we got pick 9, Chimney Rabble, and Hexgold Slash, and Furnace Strider last pack. Speaking of Furnace Strider, there he is. Great finisher. It's a hasting threat, and any creatures you top deck also get to come out as a hasting threat, at least the first creature you top deck, but usually that's enough to kill your opponent at that point in the game. Now we're just taking some filler creatures on curve, so if we don't get enough good stuff, we can load up on 2-drops and still have enough, and we did get the Hazardous Blast to wheel, making whatever I took out of that pack pretty much objectively correct at that point, which is nice. And now, I guess we're not quite at 23. We'll put these back in and cut them later. So get the Lightbringer back in. There we go. 23 cards. Full deck here. Pack 3 just gets to be completely improving it with cards like Hexgold Slash. Super efficient removal. Get the Gleeful Demolition out for that. Pick 2, get a 3rd copy of Hoverwings. Pretty hilarious. Don't mind if I do. We'll take that and cut Cackler without oil synergies. Now we can take a Volt Charge, cutting out a Thrill of Possibility or a Plated Onslaught out of the non-creature slots. This is a weird draft pod. We'll get a 4th copy of Hexgold Hoverwings, the full playset. Now a 2nd Hazardous Blast as an option. I do think I prefer that to the 2nd Plated Onslaught at least. Pick 6, incredibly happy with a Barbed Batterfist. Join the party, and we can cut probably Mirror Convert for that. We don't need to fix, and shooting yourself in the face for ramp is pretty tough in an aggressive format. I don't think we'll play 3 Hazardous Blast, but I also think that Skull Bomb is really inefficient, so just take something we're not going to play. Pick 8, I do like Engraver for setting up your draws, but I think that in aggressive decks that have a good amount of artifacts, like a bunch of equipment and artifact creatures, the Justiciar is actually a pretty great way to get a lot of damage in, and definitely outrace other aggressive decks with all that lifelink. So I'm going to take Justiciar over the Engraver here for this deck specifically. And then I guess I'll rare draft the uncommon if I'm just taking something I won't play anyway. Sawblade's Camp you can definitely play in this kind of deck because you're going to be playing plenty of equipment that come with creatures that are technically non-creature spells, but it's never like insane. I'll start that in the sideboard. Same with the Onslaught. I don't recommend tap lands in this format if you're even remotely aggressive, and you're almost always aggressive. The upside of being able to crack them in the late game when you're out of stuff to do is usually a little bit weaker than the downside of having to play off curve if you have a tap land in your hand, but you want to go 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, because the format's aggressive enough that the games where you're in a top deck war are just less frequent than usual. So you have less opportunities to end up sacking them, and more opportunities to get hosed for not curving out as well as you could. And now we probably cut one of our finishers because we have quite a few of them. We don't have very many cards that make a wide board state, like more creatures, more than one creature off of one card. We just have 2. 1 Basilic Shepherd, 1 Attendant. Everything else is just, we're playing a spell, we're getting 1 creature out of it. So we don't have a lot of great wide board stuff for Plated Onslaught, so I'll cut that and just run the double Hazardous Blast. Make sure we can find that endgame lethal, and we will call it a deck here and hop right into the gameplay. Just double checking the mana real quick. Alright, here we are for game 1 on the play. You love to see it. We need to top deck some lands on curve, but if we do, this hand's going to be incredible. Slinger into Punisher into Hoverwings. Not that Slinger's great, but just a 2-mana 2/2 to get damage in early is nice. The fact that we're playing any creature turn 2 to then follow up with these 2 is what's good. Dune Mover? Alright, pretty good play for our opponent. That just trades immediately. If they don't go for the trade, we're going to be real happy with our Hazardous Blast later because it's going to fully kill the Dune Mover. But we can't sit here and wait for Hazardous Blast and just sit there with the Slinger, I think. Because it's not going to be till at least 2 turns from now when we're Hazardous Blasting. And I guess maybe we could. Maybe that was a little impatient. Because it's not like the Dune Mover would block Punisher, but it does help set up a double block for it, which is still not good. There's a chimney rabble from our opponent. That's unfortunate. Because one of the really nice things about the Furnace Punisher Menace here is that we could set up a position where our opponent double blocks, then we Hex Gold Slash one of the creatures that they blocked with to kill it, but they could double block it with 2/3 power creatures and we wouldn't be able to save the Furnace Punisher here. So that's pretty rough. But instead we can just Hazardous Blast plus Hex Gold Slash for the turn. They can't block at all, and we're clearing out their biggest creatures. But we could flood out from here. We'll see how things go. Our opponent is down to 11, facing 2 evasive threats. So things look good on board, but we're 4 cards behind, because we are basically 0 cards in hand against 4 cards in hand. And with the Axiom Engraver, they can make sure those cards are relevant. Discard any that are not. Like their own Hazardous Blast, they're not in a position to get aggressive and use that. Ooh, Oil Gorger Troll's pretty disgusting here. Good pocket of life gain and a very big blocker to kill Furnace Punisher without dying. So that's pretty frustrating for us. We've got the mana to move over to Punisher to hit for 1 more damage. Probably fine. I'm not really getting it on the ground anyway. Red-green is the strongest, highest win rate archetype in the format, green-red oil, because it can play the aggressive really well, but it also has these really huge tools to help stabilize and win in the late game, like Oil Gorger Trolls that gain life and draw a card to get you way ahead for a long game. Plus their Signpost Uncommon is just absurd. It's a 6 mana 5/5 Vigilance that deals 1 damage to all of your opponent's creatures when it enters the battlefield, but it's even cheaper if you have oil counters on the board, so sometimes it's like a 3 mana 5/5 clear out half your opponent's board post-combat. Super nasty stuff in the archetype. But while it may be the strongest, highest win rate archetype, it is still not one of my 2 favorites just because you don't really get to play around with any artifact stuff. You're just playing with oil. So I like red, white, and blue, white. Get to play with equipment in red, white, and I get to play with a bunch of artifact creatures in blue, white, and there's Koth, and we lose because Koth is multiple removal spells in a stick. I mean, I guess 1 removal spell since we have the Hover Wings to kill Koth, but still a really nasty play. And we're still flooding here, draw another land. I will concede a little preemptively today, but not just yet. So they are on a 5-turn clock currently. Actually, not even a 5-turn clock, it's a 3-turn clock. Because I can hit them for 3 turns in a row, and on the 3rd turn I can also send in the Scamp so it dies and deals the 10th damage. So 3, 6, 9, 10 on the 3rd swing. If they gain 0 life, that is our out here. Well, that is something. And that's only going to provide 1 extra point of damage right now, actually. So it's actually not until I draw more creatures does that Hazardous Blast really matter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 next turn. If I put the Hover Wings onto the Scamp, so I deal 2, 3, 4, then I sack the Scamp to its own ability, deal 5, 6. We're 1 damage off lethal next turn. And they're getting dangerously close to just lethaling us. $17, this is going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, no, they're going to outrace us here if I don't top deck something. But they are on a 2-turn kill here for us. Should have moved the Hover Wings back to Scamp since I didn't play Blast anyway, so that I could shoot them for 2 here instead of just 1. This 1 extra point of damage might matter. I mean, on board, they're still dead in 2 swings, but Again, we have to top deck a blocker. If we top deck a blocker, we can win if their last card is nothing. But, I mean, they've gotten 4 draws off Engraver, so... let's see here. Do we win? I don't think so, but I'm not going to math it out. I'm just going to play it quick here. We're Hazardous Blasting, so they have 1 less creature to hit us with, just in case that's relevant. I think we're dead, though, because Cackler's a 4-power trampling attacker. Chump, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's exact lethal. That's annoying. Maybe they won't see it. But they have exact lethal here if they attack with the whole board. Okay. Well, that's bad news. Because if they're doing this, it likely means... Wait, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that's lethal. I have to chump. If they're doing this, it likely means they drew into something that saves them. Because otherwise they would have sat there longer and did the math. Yeah, reach blocker. Disappointing end there. Well, I guess technically if I held on to the Hazardous Blast, I would have won there, but I think my thought process was correct in that killing the 1/1 could be the difference between them having lethal on the crackback and not, because they literally had lethal on the crackback if they just sent in the whole team. So if they just read the board state and just played it outright, we would have been dead anyway, so I'm not going to count that as really a punt for having killed their 1/1 trying to prevent lethal. Alright, here we are for game 2. Unfortunately, on the draw with no 1 or 2 mana creature. Pretty large downside in this format, but we have the Hexgold Slash, which makes up for a lot of that lost tempo, part of what's so good about that card. Unfortunately, they're on the best archetype in the set again, and it is an archetype that gets stronger the later the game goes, and since we're not on the play and we're not curving out well, the game's going to last long and they will be favored, being the archetype with better late game spells. Chimney Rabble's broken in half, and there he is. Down to 17. Here's our Hover Wings. Still definitely play the aggressive here with this curve out. We have a couple removal spells to play on turn 6 to kind of catch up and make sure our board state is slightly better. Ideally, if they have like the good 5/6 drops, it won't be, but we'll see. Main deck Carnivorous Canopy, you got me. Blow up the flyer. Not the worst interaction in the world, since we do get to keep the equipment here from the Hover Wings. And then we can equip that to Lightbringer for pretty big damage. What is the ward on this? 2 mana? Alright, sweet. It's like, because something's holding for 1 mana for them. It could just be the Skull Bomb that they can crack to draw a card at instant speed, but it could be their own Hexgold Slash, so the fact that the Lightbringer has ward might have helped us get 2 more damage in there. It's probably just their Skull Bomb, though. Really important to mention about the Skull Bombs, the secondary effect, the effect that actually does something more than cycling, is sorcery speed, so you don't have to worry about those being combat trick kind of things when you're on the aggressive. Alright, if you want a Hexgold Slash Shepherd, you got it. That is a-okay with me. They're down to 3 cards in hand. We have removal for their only creature on board. I'm going to hold on to Annex Sentry since it's only 1 extra damage per turn anyway, and I'm just going to clear the board, hit for 7. They're on a 2-turn clock. If they play stuff that can die to Hexgold Slash or Annex Sentry, we're just going to kill them here. Alright, they're going to start cracking the Hunter Mazes, digging desperately, finding Kuldotha Cackler, and Cultivator, which dies to these 2, and that is lethal. We are now 1-1, heading into game number 3. Here we are for game 3. We've got a really excellent opening hand this time around, but we are on the draw again. Opponent gets the turn 1 Crawling Chorus. The best turn 1 play for anything that is trying to corrupt your opponent and get at least 3 poison counters on them. Oh no, we're already at 2 poison here. Yep, that is super, super bad. We're definitely going to Halberd over Barbed Batterfist. Play something big enough to block the chorus without dying. And they curve into the Flancing Raptor. Well, absolutely insane poisonous curve on the play from our opponent. May just be one of the classic games of Phyrexia, all will be one. Oops, no interaction, and we're dead. I'm going to play another creature that can block chorus without dying, because if we kill the chorus, it just comes right back. Wow. Alright. Who likes interactive games of Magic anyway? Yeah, I mean, I can get chumping. I can't stop the flying. That's 2 poison in the sky. I go to 9 minimum. Yeah, we're done. On to game number 4. Alright, we could just flood out here and be done with the recording, so it would be a bummer, for sure. To end with this deck going 1-3, I think it's certainly better than that, but I wouldn't hate to be done with the recording for now. I've just been very, very busy, but I really want to try to keep up the daily upload streak for you all, so trying to jam in a full draft in less than an hour. So if we lose this game, we definitely did it. This will be maybe the shortest draft video I've ever uploaded to the channel, and it had a victory. It wasn't even an 0-3 that was that short. If we die, like right now, like if they play a bomb rare next turn. Alright, Dune Mover's annoying, because I don't really want to blow a Hexgold Slash on something that small, but also I really don't want to trade Justiciar into it. Probably should have started with Duelist and Deep Faith, just in case they played a good blocker on 2. They're on white, black, greens. They're probably going for full poison here. Those are the 3 overlapping toxic colors. Okay, so a 3-1. Yeah, I'm a little cooler trading into a 3-1 than a 2-1. Especially when it's a 3-1 toxic 2. But our opponent is going all in here. They are just going to keep that around so they can crack back. And we are currently flooding a little. We've got land 5 and 6 in hand now that we've drawn into, that we're not in the opener. Shrapnel Slinger. Okay, they've got no artifacts on board. That 1-3 body's super, super bad for our Justiciar. The trade into Blight Belly Rat's not profitable. I can attack with Duelist, nothing happens, or I can attack with these 2 and Lightbringer trades down and they proliferate me to Corrupted. We have a real bad position here. I actually could have Slingered just to get Justiciar in. Yeah, I should have done that. We should have attacked with Justiciar. Justiciar would just trade down into the Blight Belly Rat at best, and we would still immediately get Corrupted, so it wouldn't exactly be good for us, but it would be better than not sending in at all that turn. So again, not like a monumental miss. Alright, never mind. I secretly played correctly because I knew I was going to draw into Halberd to put on Justiciar. Although Halberd on Lightbringer to buff it's pretty big. Yeah. I'll actually do this. Boop, boop. Alright, now we are going to be Corrupted. Lightbringer's going crazy here. I don't know if they saw that it has Trample. Blocking it with the 3-1 there. Yeah, I don't think so. They're looking at Lightbringer again. Hexgold Halberd putting in work. You've heard of Hidden Reach, but have you heard of Hidden Trample? Infectious Inquiry? Okay, well, we would have been Corrupted either way then. So now I don't feel so bad about trading off into the Proliferate card. Corrupted, I don't know if I even mentioned, but that's the mechanic where if your opponent has 3 or more poison counters, your Corrupted spells become a lot better. So it can activate some really threatening cards. Like there's a 5-mana 4/4 with Toxic that if your opponent's Corrupted, you get to destroy something when it hits the board. Turn it into a really nasty 2-for-1 kind of thing. Just stuff like that. Alright, there's the concession from our opponent. things were gummed up really quickly in the early game there, so I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to break through all that stuff. Hexgold Halberd was just the exact kind of card we needed there to make sure we could break through that board state, especially with a creature that was getting bigger for being equipped. Getting that first strike trample was excellent, so really, really solid draws after the first couple lands there. We are now 2-2. If we can win one more game, then we will officially be at least a 50-50 win rate here. But we have drawn a lot of lands. I don't think that this deck needs to go down to 16. It certainly could. Like, we only have the one way, the Axiom Engraver, to dig out of some Flood, but we have a deceptively high amount of, like, 4 and 5 mana things to do for a Boros aggro deck, because we have the full play set of Hexgold Halberds, and then, of course, we also have equip costs on all of the Halberds, and, or not the Hexgold Halberds, sorry, the Hexgold Hoverwings is the 4 mana make a 3/2 flyer. So we've got the 4 Hexgold Hoverwings, and we have a Hexgold Halberd, and we have a Barbed Batterfist, and all those have equip costs to spend all of our mana on later in the game. So there's plenty of stuff to do with our mana. All right, really solid draws here. I was going to say, when is Arena going to work, or my internet going to work, whichever one. I'm trying to have a need for speed over here. Chimney Rabble. It's a Lightbringer and a half. Shrapnel Slinger can blow up the Batterfist at the cost of a creature, which isn't worth it. Just furnace right on in. I'll have Lightbringer clear out the 3/3. I will not attack with Sentry, though, because they can double block that. I would only kill a 1/1. And I'd lose the Sentry and they'd get back their 2/3, so that would be really bad. There's Axiom Engraver. Prosthetic Injector to get a really high toughness blocker. We might have to Shrapnel Slinger a Prosthetic Injector, which is pretty annoying. Yeah, I think we do. Luckily, I can sack any creature to use Shrapnel Slinger, so I can go ahead and sacrifice the Might token we get off of Attendant, which is a pretty great combo. They do not have the power to kill the Annex Sentry anymore, so we'll send that in as well. It does just bounce off Engraver, but might as well. Oh, I should have hasted the Attendant. I totally, for some reason, blanked on Furnace Strider's ability, just playing slightly too fast there. Maybe we'll draw something bigger later. Probably not. But yeah, we missed out on our second haste. That's like the whole point of the Strider. It's a haste creature and a half, and we didn't get the half haste creature out of it. At least not yet. If they do, they could block and then Volt Charge here. It's only one more point of damage. I'll keep Annex Sentry out of harm's way. If they have a Hexgold Slash, that's beautiful for them. That can kill a Sentry and get back a Cackler at instant speed as another blocker. Surprise, kill my Shrapnel Slinger for free. But if they had that, they would have cast it already. They're doing some digging. Discard a card, draw a card. Do not find any tricks. They're down to 7. They do have the Volt Charge. Well, I'm pretty happy I didn't attack with Annex Sentry then. Although, it is still kind of arguable whether it's better to kill the 4/5 or get the Cackler back. Okay, well, it was better to kill the 4/5. Because they had destroy an artifact card coming up. Actually, no, it wouldn't matter. This would have destroyed either. Yeah, no, it would have been the same either way. Skitterfang? No, oh god, Skitterfang's so good. The lifelink might not be enough here, though, because they have to attack every time they want to get the lifelink going. But they can Batterfist up the Cackler, and it's a 4-power lifelinker from Skitterfang. I don't know what they even do here. Is that worth it? Because we can trade into the Cackler then. But then we have to trade on blocks, but I can trade it for just a 2/2. Okay, if they don't put the Batterfang on, they get the lifelink. That's better for them for sure. They're at 4. The only way they kill Attendant is double block. A single block on Slinger is pretty fine. I think we clear out this. Lower the number of creatures they have to block with, and or to try to give lifelink to. Get a Batterfist up their Skitterfang? Alright, sure. Our attacks are functionally the same still. Cacophony Scamp makes their attacks terrible now, which is perfect. Actual perfect draw here. Because now they can't just like lifelink Skitterfang and keep swinging for 3. I just block and trade. They only get 1 lifelink swing out of it. Let's see what that top deck is. Is it bigger than a 3/4? Nope, it is a 2/1, so we just force the chump. Incredible draw. Once again. You put all good cards in your deck, you've got all good draws. Let's go. We've got some mediocre stuff in here, let's not lie. We've got like Lean and Lightbringer and stuff. Alright, well now they have to kill both of these. And they cannot kill both of them. We are officially at least 50-50 at 3 and 2 now. And at this rate, this will not be the shortest draft video on the channel anymore. Round 6, let's go. That's not keepable. You cannot keep... even 1 Hazardous Blast in an opening hand is kind of like a mulligan. 2 is like we already mulled the 5, so... that is a quick mull right there. Hazardous Blast is not the kind of card you want in your opener. It is not... even though it's a 4-mana card, it's not usually a 4-mana play. You're waiting until like turn 6, turn 7, ideally. Speak of the devil and it shall return. Boros Mirror Match. Mandible Justicia turn 2. Okay. Well, so far so good on this Hazardous Blast, just getting played super early. They have no good blocks, and they will not have great attacks into the Shrapnel Slinger. Slightly awkward, we don't have double red. Being able to play Slinger and hold up the Hexgold Slash would be beautiful. But it's still definitely worth playing Slinger here. Keep getting our power toughness on board. I'm going to let the Justicia right in if they do send it in, because we have the Hazardous Blast that can clear it out. That could happen just next turn. You. Ossification on the Duelist. This is super... oh, they got a 1-mana trick here too? Nope, they're just gonna let me kill the Might. Cool. I'll take the free kill. Yeah, just 1-for-1 trade Hazardous Blast off here, since it'll be a while before I use it as a finisher. Really depends how many other 1-toughness creatures are in their deck, but we don't have any information on what they're running, so I think it might be better to just Hexgold Slash. Even though the Justiciar could die to a Hazardous Blast. Multiple cards could die to Hazardous Blast later instead of just 1. You know what? Gain your life again. This is not going to be a quick race either way. I'm going to get more information before I do anything here. A 2/4 Vigilance. Okay, that's pretty annoying. And that'll be a 4/4 vigilance if they have 3 artifacts on board. Oh boy. So if they have any 4 Mirrodin equipment, they get 2 2/2s off of them. Elishnorn is definitely a kill on sight bomb, and we cannot kill her on sight. We don't have any good blocks for these two, regardless, so let's just cash in the damage here and kill the Justiciar in the same time, or at the same time. Those are both vigilant. This is the one time we're gonna get damage through on the ground. I do have 4 Hexgold Hoverwings, so plenty of ways to give these things flying to keep getting damage in. But if they play anything with an enter the battlefield effect, we are probably falling far too behind, or too far behind. Whatever way you want to word it out. Oh, what's really annoying is she's just disgusting in the mirror match too, right? Because if we draw our Hexgold Hoverwings, it will still be a decent draw, but it won't come with the token anymore. Because she shuts off our enter the battlefield effects. So Mandible Justiciar can never get any bigger either. That's super annoying. I can't do any enter the battlefield stuff anyway. I might just trade Justiciar for Enforcer and gain some life while I do it, instead of just trading Slinger. I guess it's pretty comparable. I can just cash in Justiciar for 2 life at any later time regardless. Alright, that thing only has 2 power. I should have just double blocked. What am I on about? I could have double blocked and they could only kill one of the 2. That would have just definitely been better. We would have gained 2 more life. We would have kept the slash for later. Sloppy quick plays. If we can hit planar disruption, I do think we have one, then we can win. Oh no, we don't have a planar disruption. Shoot. We can hit land and super lose. Not quite dead yet. 1 turn from dead though. They can tap Justiciar so we don't have a lifelink block. Oh yeah, that's actually better, because Cacophony Scamp kills Sinnoh Dancer when it dies, so Scamp is the better block. I chump and kill Dancer with that one. Good on opponent for seeing that. Halberd does literally nothing. It's not even a creature, because Elishnorn. Yeah, they just tap Cacophony Scamp and we lose. I'll send a message. Let's have that get destroyed and then concede. So they know exactly what the scoop is to. Elishnorn completely takes that game. And it's going to be a 3-3 50-50 run with this deck. Again, I think this is a pretty good kind of Boros deck. It's a little higher mana curve than you generally want for this format. The Slingers are certainly pretty mediocre, as is the Lightbringer. If these were swapped out for more like Batterfist or something, to be close to the perfect kind of build of this, you generally only want like 1 Hazardous Blast because drawing 2 is super detrimental, and Volt Charge over Hexgold Slash is also really mana efficient at 3 mana. Even like a Planar Disruption over Volt Charge would be a little better. But for the most part, I mean, solid curve of creatures, solid amount of removal. We just don't have any bombs going for us, and there's a little bit of filler, so pretty average run for, I think, slightly above average deck, but definitely, you know, 0 rares in here. Not a perfect curve and a little bit of filler. I think it's a fair run at 3 and 3. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more new recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.